It's the 4th of December 2024. Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, is fatally shot outside a Manhattan hotel. 5 days later, police arrest a suspect, 26-year-old Luigi Mangione. He's charged with murder, to which he later pleads not guilty. During a search of Mangione's backpack, police say they find a 3D printed pistol and silencer. Their photo of the alleged murder weapon goes viral on social media, and within hours experts identify it as the Chairman 1 V1. It's a partially 3D printed model, capable of firing multiple shots without its plastic components breaking. The incident highlights how sophisticated 3D printed firearms have become, allowing anyone to make an untraceable gun at home.
I think it may be the single biggest advertisement for 3D printed guns that we've seen, and it really sounded an alarm across the country that 3D printed guns aren't a problem of the future, they're a problem right now.
I'm Dan Hardoon, and for BBC Trending, I'm investigating how social media has become central to the promotion of 3D printed guns.
This is a new era of weapons trafficking where gun traffickers can actually just get on a massive megaphone and pay for reach.
I've challenged people offering guns for sale on social media. Why are you selling guns?
Because I want to say, bro, it's my business. Why are you asking questions?
And 3D printed gun advocates who believe this technology should be widely available.
There's no reason not to have the information.
But it isn't just information, it's information being used for a lethal weapon. So what are 3D printed guns? They're often described as a type of ghost gun.
A ghost gun is any do-it-yourself, homemade, unserialized, untraceable firearm.
Nick Saplina is Senior Vice President for Law and Policy at the American gun control organization Everytown.
They are designed to avoid all federal and state laws on guns, and it gave a market for criminals and other individuals that couldn't legally purchase a gun, this easy pathway to get one.
There are different kinds of ghost guns, including DIY kits, which allow you to assemble a gun from existing parts. But 3D printed guns are seen as the biggest emerging threat, because you can assemble a gun from scratch with the right materials, a 3D printer, and a set of blueprints.
The materials have gotten better, the cost has gone down, and the ease of access of these blueprints is at a high. Right now, 3D printed guns are going to be, if not already, the weapon of choice for criminals, for militia, for far-right groups in America, and maybe across the world, because of the ease with which you can manufacture them.
3D printed guns aren't new, but over time the technology has become more sophisticated.
About 12 years ago is when we first saw this notion of a successfully 3D printed firearm. It was called the Liberator. It was a polymer plastic model. It fired a single shot. It was touted at the time by its creator, a self-proclaimed crypto-anarchist named Cody Wilson, to be the beginning of the end of all gun control laws. And what we're seeing right now is not only can you very quickly assemble a fully functioning firearm, but there are even 3D printed semi-automatic rifles now.
In America, police discoveries of 3D printed guns are rising. But whereas they're legal in many parts of the United States, the bigger risk may lie elsewhere.
In many parts of the world, guns are heavily regulated. So the fact is that this technology is a full end run around those laws. And if countries don't do something to regulate 3D printed guns, they're going to start seeing 3D printed guns used in crimes more and more.
And over on social media, 3D printed guns are promoted enthusiastically.
I'm Katie Paul. I'm the director at the Tech Transparency Project in Washington, D.C., and we're a nonprofit that seeks to hold big tech accountable.
In 2024, Katie published a report which found that hundreds of gun ads, including for 3D printed and ghost guns, were appearing on Instagram and Facebook in violation of Meta's policies. When we speak several months after her original report, Katie finds similar ads still appearing in Meta's ad library.
One of the ads I'm looking at that has been running actively for over a week now offers Glock switches. That's an item that you can add to a Glock handgun to make it fully automatic in violation of U.S. law. Another ad that I'm looking at says, click on link in bio and hashtag strap, which is slang for weapons. We did come across ads promoting 3D guns as well as ghost guns, which in some cases could include 3D printed parts.
If these guns can be assembled by anyone with access to a 3D printer, what's the need to purchase anything from a gun dealer?
In some cases, users may not have access to a 3D printer. They may not be able to access the materials. Also, if you're not a super advanced 3D printer, you could be developing something that could actually harm you if there are any flaws in what you're putting together.
When we put these findings to Meta, they tell us that the ads in question are
no longer active on their platforms
and have been
automatically disabled in line with their policies.
They add that
inclusion in the ad library doesn't necessarily mean an ad is still live or visible to users.
Although, at the time of my interview with Katie, the ads were still showing as active. These gun adverts typically include usernames directing potential customers to their Telegram or WhatsApp channels. I want to find out what happens when you contact one of these accounts, and whether they're willing to break the law by shipping untraceable 3D printed guns to the UK. So I've just clicked onto one of the Telegram accounts I found via an ad on Facebook. And when you join, there's this constant stream of gun photos with prices, and some of the models look like they're 3D printed. I'm going to send them a private message from an anonymous account. I'm going to say, hi, do you ship 3D printed guns or parts to the UK? Oh, he's replied, yes bro, do you want to purchase for a gun? Which models do you have? So he's offered me a Liberator or a Glock switch. So I'm gonna say, Liberator, how much and do you have a photo? Wow, okay, so he's sent me a photo of a 3D printed gun. He says it costs £160. At this point in our conversation, I become a bit skeptical. The Liberator is more of a prototype than a viable 3D printed weapon, although the Glock switch, a small, sometimes 3D printed part which converts a pistol into an automatic weapon, is much more deadly. The seller, who goes by the name Jesse, then offers to smuggle the weapon through customs, asks for payment in Bitcoin, then suggests a bank transfer to a UK account I'm not able to trace. Whether Jesse is a real arms dealer or a scammer isn't clear. Either way, his offer to ship guns to the UK is clearly illegal. So I decide to give him a call to challenge him about what he's doing. Hi, is that Jesse?
Pardon?
Is that Jesse? We've been messaging on Telegram.
I'm not getting you. I'm not getting you. What are you saying?
I'm a journalist with the BBC. I'm investigating how 3D printed weapons are being promoted on social media. And you offered to sell me a Liberator or a Glock switch and said you could smuggle them through customs.
Yeah, bro. That's no problem.
Are you aware that's illegal in the UK?
Yeah, bro.
If you know it's illegal, why are you doing it?
Can you give me a WhatsApp so I can call you? It seems as the network here on Telegram is not good.
At first, it seems like he can't hear me. But then something strange happens. He doesn't hang up, but starts answering my questions. Which country are you in?
I'm in UK, bro.
You're in the UK as well?
Yeah, bro.
Why are you selling firearms on your Telegram channel?
Because I want to say, bro, it's my business. Why you asking questions? Do you want to buy or you asking me questions? Are you the cops?
No,
Stop,
I'm not the cops.
You are a journalist, understand? You are doing your own business, I'm doing my own business. I run my business, I sell some shops online, understand? I sell shops.
So how long have you been doing this for?
I'm not answering any question anymore, bro.
I have to say, after that call, I reckon he's not a real gun dealer. He was just too brazen and casual. We obviously can't say for sure if he would have delivered us a real weapon. We weren't going to test that out. But the point is that if scammers can pose as arms dealers and exploit these apparent loopholes on social media, then so can the real ones. In a statement, Telegram told me the accounts I'd been in touch with have been taken down. They said,
"The sale of weapons is explicitly forbidden by Telegram's terms of service and is removed when discovered."
They added that
Moderators empowered with custom AI and machine learning tools proactively monitor public parts of the platform and accept reports in order to remove millions of pieces of harmful content each day, including the sale of weapons. Telegram is in constant exchange with Ofcom and the Home Office to keep Telegram safe for UK users.
in reality, though, 3D printed guns have become so advanced that you don't really need to buy anything at all. There are other places online where you can get all the know-how you need, including websites offering how-to guides and downloadable files. Now, in theory, you can just download these files, load them into your 3D printer with the plastic material, and start building a gun. But even with a step-by-step guide, is it really that simple?
My name's Dr. Rajan Basra. I'm a researcher at King's College London, and for the past 6 years, I've been looking into the 3D printed guns movement. I think the term 3D printed gun is actually a bit misleading because it implies that the entire gun is 3D printed, and that's not the case. Most of the popular designs involve metal components.
These metal parts are key. They help the plastic gun withstand the pressure of firing bullets, but some designs allow you to repurpose those parts yourself without needing to buy them.
You're essentially becoming a DIY gunsmith. So I don't want to give the impression that this is as easy as printing off a sheet of A4 paper in your office printer.
It may not be easy, but these designs have significantly lowered the barrier to entry for 3D printed guns. The most famous is the FGC-9, or Gun Control 9mm, a semi-automatic gun built entirely from scratch, without any commercial parts. Although the 3D printed gun movement is global, it has a strong presence in America. Many of them firmly believe in the Second Amendment right to bear arms, and consider this a human right. Their aim is to make 3D printed guns available worldwide by publishing blueprints and guides for free on the internet. The group is often wary of the media, but one of them agrees to speak to me. Matthew LaRosier is a gun rights attorney in Florida who's written one of these guides. I ask him why.
We've got books that step-by-step tell you how to make a gun. We've got chemistry books that tell you step-by-step how to make meth. I guess the question is, do you ever think information is bad? And I don't. I think that sunlight is the best disinfectant and the truth is the best cure. So I just generally believe that information is good no matter what.
Do you personally believe that 3D printed firearms should be available to anyone who wants them without restriction?
I don't think it matters what I think. I think that the information is available. You know, of course, individuals should really be cautious of what their local laws are and not break them. You know, as an attorney, I definitely don't advise anyone to break their local laws. If we're going to presume that people follow the law, I think that there's no reason not to have the information.
But it isn't just information, it's information that is going into being used for a lethal weapon.
But it's like, so you just said information that means it's just information. It's ones and zeros. The fact that like the information has a use case that makes you uncomfortable, I understand and I sympathize with that. But that doesn't make it correct to say it's anything more than information.
Even if the information was then used, so let's say someone took a design from one of these websites, learned how to build their own gun, and then used it in a school shooting or a massacre somewhere.
Right. So then I would pose the counter hypothetical. There's one place that we see the FGC-9 actually used, and that's in Burma. We're talking about a people that were staring down the barrel of a genocidal dictatorship, and a pro-democratic rebellion was successful, at least in part, because of the heavily documented use of the FGC-9 specifically. I would say that is good. And the thing that you are suggesting, I would say that is bad. And I thank God that has not happened.
Matthew refers several times in our conversation to the example of Burma, now Myanmar, the only documented case of the FGC-9 being used in active combat. Since a military coup in February 2021, various rebel groups have taken up arms against the junta, including some pro-democracy forces. But how did a printed gun end up in the hands of rebels in a major conflict zone? My colleague Nemo from BBC Burmese has been speaking to leaders of the Myanmar rebel groups.
They confirmed to me that in 2022 and 2023, resistance forces were producing and distributing hundreds of FGC-9 3D printed guns. 3D printed guns were more than 10 times cheaper than buying automatic machine guns from the black market. All of the leaders I spoke to told me they are no longer using 3D printed guns due to a shortage of materials like glue and metal needed to hold guns together.
The Myanmar example shows the limits of current 3D printed guns for military use. But around the world, the spread of 3D printed guns is clear. They've been found on almost every continent, from Australia to Ecuador, Japan to Ireland. So far, there have only been a handful of documented cases of 3D printed guns being used in violent crime. But we may be at a turning point.
There have been dozens of cases of violent extremists attempting to make or use these guns.
Dr. Rajan Basra again.
Every few months, someone is getting arrested with a near-completed firearm. I'm very concerned about the threat from 3D printed firearms ending up in the wrong hands, and we have a mass shooting, mass casualty event.
Advocates for 3D printed guns often like to say, you can't stop the signal. You can't stop the spread of 3D printed guns now they're out there. And they're right. As 3D printing becomes a more affordable and mature technology, and the blueprints spread, we can only expect more of these weapons to turn up in new places. So is there anything that can be done to keep people safe? Nick Saplina from Everytown thinks so.
We're going to need laws regulating these blueprints, as well as the act of 3D printing a firearm. But there are also technological solutions that could prohibit printing of a firearm the same way that traditional printers are prohibited from printing currency.
That's it for this edition of Trending from the BBC World Service with me, Dan Hardoon. My thanks to Nemo from BBC Burmese, Hal Haynes for mixing this episode, and to BBC Trending's editor Flora Carmichael.